Now maybe you're somebody who hates this, right? You hate this. Well, is it because your proximity is the only people you have around you are African American people, and you don't trust any other race? And that's your choice, right? But the world is bigger than that. But is your world bigger than that? Good day, YouTube. This is Eric T. Thank you so much for coming and visiting Mason Manor. I woke up this morning and, took the day off, and I was like, all right, what's going on in the world? In the midst of baby formula shortage and war in Ukraine 3 months in, and election stuff that we got going on here in the States. I'm like, all right, what's going on? And I was surprised. Well, I shouldn't really be surprised, but I was surprised to see that the internet is up in arms about a professional ball player's son going on a prom with someone who's not of his race. Let's get to it. All right, YouTube, let's get right into this. The article was posted by dailymail.co.uk, and we're going to flip right over to the iPad and just look at it real time together. Come on. All right. LeBron James' 17-year-old son, Bronny, is trolled with vile racist abuse for taking a white girl to his school prom after sharing photos of the couple heading to the event in custom $326,000 Mercedes. LeBron Ramon Bronny James Jr., the eldest son of the basketball legend, shared some photos of himself and his prom date to Instagram on Wednesday. Bronny, who was a junior, attended a dance with one of his Sierra Canyon school classmates, senior Peyton Gelfuso. He wore a blue and black patterned tuxedo with blue suede shoes, while she wore a white dress. Some social media users were not happy with his decision to take someone who is light-skinned to prom. One person called Peyton a money-hungry white girl, while another accused her of being a gold digger. Others said they were disappointed in the basketball player for not bringing someone of his own skin color. Sierra Canyon School costs around $40,000 a year and was previously attended by Kylie and Kendall Jr. All right, I'm gonna stop there. All right, so first thing is this is his prom, y'all. This is his prom. He's 17 years old. This is his prom. And anytime you have 7 billion to 8 billion people on a planet, and a number of those people have internet, okay, you're gonna have people that disagree. All right, fine. But for the UK to get this article and just expose this hatred, this racist undertone coming from our community, it's pretty alarming. And you got to look at it and be like, man, when I was 17, it was in the 90s, when I was 17, I went on prom, I had a great time. Now, I wasn't born like this, and we'll look at it in a minute, but, within my means, I had a good time. But one thing we were not taking into account is that dating, and that's all this was a date. Dating is based on proximity. All right, proximity. How close are you, where you can reach out and touch somebody, and they share your common interests. You're in the same social circles. Now it says that this school costs $40,000 a year. Okay, so if you are of African American or brown skin or black or what have you, and you want to be in the same proximity as Bronny, you gotta be in that school. So are you complaining that you're not in that school, or are you complaining that you just weren't picked to go on the prom. Because when I went on the prom, I went with a girl that was from my school. It was my girlfriend. I went, but we were all black. His school is not all black. So there's this code that we expect him to just adhere to at 17 years of age. When we as a black people, we're fractured. Dick Gregory said that many times. There is no, he said very clearly, if you go back and look at his tapes, because he's since passed on, he said, what black community? That was a question he posed. Do we really have a community? And he argued that we didn't. And I think there are small pockets of the community, but as a whole, I don't think we have a full community. But this is a socio-economic issue. He goes to a school where people pay $40K a year. There's probably people on this post that may not even make that much a year. So they're not in the same social circle. Okay, so we go on and people are, shooting shots at the girl and they don't know this girl. They don't know his reason. They don't know if she asked him to go on the prom because she had a crush on him. And some guys like to be approached. Some guys like to be asked to go on the prom. Some guys like to be selected. We don't know. We don't know if this is someone that he had his eye on and, asked her to go on the prom. We don't know all these things. We just look at something and then boom, we just shoot it right on out. And it's just alarming to me that, this vitriol, this anger over a teenage boy who's celebrating a prom with someone who he didn't say he was gonna marry this girl. He didn't say, okay, I'm getting like he proposed that night or something. It's completely different than say something of this ilk, where we have a woman, Miss Sidibe. She made a life choice to accept a ring from someone who is not of her race and is going to get married if they proceed on and they go from being engaged to getting married. That's a life choice. It's different than this young man just going on a prom date and taking a picture. It's a lot different. But one thing that I didn't see when Miss Sidibe got engaged, I didn't see anywhere close to this level of vitriol. And I'm of the opinion that you're going to date whoever you date, you're going to marry whoever you marry because it's based on proximity, who likes you, do you have common interests? And again, as I stated, if you want to be in the pool of people that could potentially be selected, you got to get yourself in proximity. You got to get yourself close to that. And if you don't have the resources to do that, then you won't get chosen because you're not in the circle. You're not in the circle. And so what's the difference between Bronny and Miss Sidibe? Well, one's male, one's female. Bronny is younger, Miss Sidibe is older. Okay, one's making a choice for a night, and the other is making a choice for her life. It's a big difference. But we didn't see any of the vitriol. I've seen snippets of men saying who Bronny should have took on the prom. I mean, that's his parents' decision. And you think you're going to supersede his parents? You want somebody coming in and telling your kids what they should do over top of what you say? And you might not see it that way, but that's how it is. That's how it is. They paid for that 300,000 plus Mercedes. They sponsored that. And he probably has something to do with it, maybe, whatever. But the thing is why is our opinion in something so trivial? And you may say, well, that's not trivial because he's picking somebody. Well, if you go back to the article, it says here, in the wake of the backlash against Bronny's prom photos, the alleged photos of his dad, LeBron, attending his own prom with a white woman have resurfaced online. Okay, but who did LeBron marry? He married Savannah, and they had kids. Like, It's completely different. Completely different. And again, in a world of 7 to 8 billion people, you can mix and match with anybody. And in this nation where everyone is supposed to be able to be a melting pot, well, when you have a melting pot in America, you're going to have people that date other people of other races. It may not be received, okay, but at the end of the day, that's their decision. That's their choice. I mean, we have, Supreme Court stuff going on about my body, my choice. I mean, this is his date. This is his choice. Why is it different? And if you go and look at, the rapper Eve, she has a Caucasian husband. No vim, no vitriol. I haven't heard yet. Haven't seen anything where, why did she marry him? I mean, that's her choice. And he chose her. Proximity. Again, you don't know the backdrop of all this. And if you want to go more historic, our legend, Maya Angelou, it says here she married her ex-husband or white ex-husband 3 times or something like that. And we would have never known that because, again, back then, social media wasn't a thing. I mean, this is a black and white photo. And, it's been, taken care of where you could distinguish the details. I mean, that was her choice. Again, that was her proximity. She's a world-renowned poet. And she said something that, in an old article, the article says, marrying white doesn't make you any less black. Now, that was, again, an opinion. That's a perspective, right? I mean, when you marry someone, it doesn't change your skin tone. Yeah, we get that. Now, your children will come out and they'll be mixed. And, ABC did the show Mixed-ish and all of that. And I don't want to get into that. But, your offspring will be considered, half-breeds or what have you. And we all got all kinds of little snarky things that people say, calling people Becky's and all kinds of stuff. It's just, I really struggle with how we as a race, we can say, she's a Becky or she's this. But if someone, says, we're Sambo, Uncle Tom, or the N-word, we're ready to fight. Like, what's the difference? Like one has historically been used, but the other is a new construct. It's still the same. It's still the same undertone. It's still the same undertone. And all of this because a wealthy man's son chose a prom date. And what it exposes this thing about us as a people that there's something about us we don't like each other. From race to race, we don't like each other. As a whole, unfortunately, it seems that way. And we'll never get to that place that Dr. King really had a dream about and, shared with the nation about people of different races being in harmony with each other. Because when you have that, here's a news flash. When you have that, what you have is people will mate with other people from other races. That's just one of the byproducts of people being in the same neighborhoods, in the same class. Now, maybe you're somebody who hates this, right? You hate this. Well, is it because your proximity is the only people you have around you are African American people, and you don't trust any other race? And that's your choice, right? But the world is bigger than that. But is your world bigger than that? This man is going to be international. He's been traveling with basketball. His father is world known. Like he doesn't have that world view that you or someone may have, where I gotta just stick with this particular. And again, even if he did, this is a date. It's not a life choice like this one, or this one, or that one. Those are life choices. Life choices. Till death do us part. Covenant. Last time I checked, This was not. Just a young man, spend a lot of money, go on a date. Dating is about proximity. So if you are a black woman, African American woman, and you want to be chosen, you have to put yourself in the position to be, or put yourself in proximity of those guys that are selected. They're finding their girlfriends in college, in prominent colleges. You have to put yourself in that position, in that proximity, to be chosen. And then after you put yourself in proximity, then you have common interests, beliefs, what y'all vibe is, y'all music, your background. I mean, all those things come into play when you talk about going from a simple prom date to now who you're selecting for a girlfriend, and then who you get engaged with, and then who you marry and plan on living your life with. And all those things are different anyway. I've been married 25 years this year. Got married when I was 21, so you could do the math on that. But for me, the person I chose is based on proximity. The person I chose is based on common interests, beliefs, our understanding, how we vibe, how we got together. It's no different. So you can be angry at his choice, but you also got to look at, are you in a position, are you in a place where you could be potentially chosen by a guy like that? Maybe if Bronny was Steve Urkel, you wouldn't have this kind of energy. Maybe if he was insignificant or not as significant as a legendary ball player's son, maybe you wouldn't care. Maybe you care just because there aren't just this type of guy that are dating outside their race. There are other types of guys that may be more geeky, more nerdy, more non-athletic, that are also picking Caucasian girls, Asian girls, Hispanic girls. They're not picking black girls, but you're not going to see that level of vitriol. Why? Because they're not as prominent. And maybe black women are fighting for the prominent men. Okay. But again, you can fight for them, but you got to put yourself in proximity. You got to put yourself in their arena, in their circle. And then after you put yourself in their circle, do y'all match? Do y'all have connection? And again, it's just a date, but nevertheless, it is what it is. The prom is over. Hopefully he had a good time. I'm sure he had a fun time driving in the car if he drove it, and we'll wait for the next story that caused the internet to explode. So in closing, thank you so much for visiting Mason Manor. I got a whole bunch of stuff going on the screen, like, comment, subscribe, all those things. I've been going for a minute. I started this YouTube channel in 2021, but I'm working a full-time job, and then a lot of things happened. COVID happened to me personally last year, and just some things had to be put on pause. But going to be sharing a lot from the Manor, and hopefully it's something you enjoy. Share it if you want to. Until next time, I'll get back with you.